Hey guys, this is an introductory guide to the Hazard 5 difficulty, and just an FYI, I'm not usually a content creator, but I noticed there were no videos in the community about this topic, so thought I'd create one. This is for newer players looking to get into the max non-modded difficulty of Hazard 5 to help give you a better understanding of the general strategy so you're contributing to your team's success rather than getting carried to mission success. The difficulty spike from Hazard 4 to Hazard 5 is significantly more noticeable than going from Haz 3 to Haz 4. Bugs will do more damage, attack faster, have faster moving projectiles, move faster, and there will be tons more of them. You'll be punished for your misplays much harder in Haz 5. Later in this video, I'll cover the high threat bugs that you'll want to prioritize when kiting. This guide is coming from the perspective of playing with a full team of 4 players, not solo, and more players on your team, the more damage enemies will be doing. A few smacks on your bum from a bug and you're a goner. I highly suggest having your class promoted before venturing into Haz 5. This is so that you're more comfortable with your class's potential for clearing waves, and so you have 2 active perks to work with. You don't need overclocks to do Haz 5 well, but if you haven't unlocked certain mods for your weapons, you'll be at a significant disadvantage compared to your teammates who have everything unlocked. I often see new players hop straight into Haz 5 as soon as they unlock it, and it's good for you to get a feel for what Haz 5 entails, but everyone's got to have first time for everything, and just remember, first time's always awkward. So here are the active perks I recommend if you're new to Haz 5 and you're not a scout. Dash and Field Medic are my favorites, but you could do Iron Will. Dash will help you get out of sticky situations and get you into better positioning, which I'll cover later. And Field Medic is just generally good to have in Haz 5 because everyone dies in Haz 5. The ability to revive your teammates a few seconds faster could mean the difference between mission failure or success. Also, the ability to instantly revive a teammate is just really good to have in clutch situations. If you know when to use Iron Will, then you can go with it, but I feel that Dash and Field Medic provides more utility throughout the entire mission. Iron Will is like an oh shit button where if you don't make it to the health in the next 10 seconds or so and do some heroic play, it won't really provide as much consistent value. Iron Will is good to have if you're a scout though, because you won't be needing Dash. In Haz 5, your ammo reserves will matter much more than previous difficulties, and getting Nitra is vitally important. You'll want to be constantly moving and working towards your objective because Haz 5 is almost like you're on a timed mission, and if you do not finish the primary objective within the allotted time, you'll eventually run out of Nitra on the map and then thus ammo. This makes the role of the scout that much more important in Haz 5, and so I just wanted to really quickly recap the scout's primary roles. It is not to clear waves, as the other classes are much better at doing that, but it is to prioritize getting Nitra and progress towards the primary and secondary objectives for areas of the map that are hard to reach for the other classes. The scout is also by far the best at taking out high priority targets, which I'll cover later in this video. Vision and light is of utmost importance in Haz 5 with the huge swarms you'll encounter, and so be liberal with your flares as it'll help your team tremendously. A good habit whenever you enter a new large room is to throw 2 to 3 flares out so your team has a good mental image of the room. You'll need the Nitra that's scattered across the higher areas. And another good habit is to keep your flares up when a warning of a big wave is announced. Finally, a good rule of thumb is if you're not almost out of flares by the time you need to restock on ammo, you probably could be using more flares. Positioning and kiting. Now, I'm not going to insult your gamer intelligence by telling you what kiting is and how to do it, because it's fairly intuitive. Run from your enemies, keep moving, and don't get hit. However, positioning for kiting will be the biggest thing in helping you survive. Big open spaces will be your best friend, and small confined spaces will quickly make you bug food. Kiting in a large open space with flat ground is vastly easier than trying to do the same on jagged flooring that's littered with holes of death and obstacles that prevent you from moving. When an announcement that a big wave is incoming, try to find a large area that's open to fight in. Drillers can drill obstacles that obstruct vision and movement, such as large pillars, and engineers can plug holes on the ground. If you find yourself with the inability to clear a wave, i.e. when your guns are reloading and you're being surrounded from multiple angles, now's a good time to use your dash ability to get into more favorable positioning. And then also frequently check behind you. I can't tell you how many times I've died to bugs that surprised me from behind while shooting at a big wave. And try not to have your back near a wall, there will be bugs. Again, all of these things are much easier to do when your area has a lot of light, which alludes to my point earlier about how a scout that does his job well can positively affect your mission success. High threat targets. These are the enemies that are an immediate threat to your survival and should be prioritized while kiting big swarms of melee bugs. Spitball Infector. Spitball Infectors have massive range and their projectiles move very fast. One hit from their AoE spitballs can easily chunk most of your health. Shoot its weak points, keep moving horizontally from it, and or use terrain to avoid its projectiles. Easily one of the highest priority targets to take out. Myctera spawn, Trijaw, and Brundles. These guys do a ton of damage, and two of them can instantly down you if a few of their projectiles hit. They often come in packs accompanying big swarms, and they are easily one of the highest priority targets. Myctera Grabber. Grabbers usually come when you least expect it, but if grabbed, can spell instant death or put you into a very bad spot. These are fairly high priority targets to kill. Glyphic Menace. If left unchecked, these guys can wreak havoc by pelting you with an endless flurry of projectiles and are usually hard to find. Scouts and gunners usually have easier times killing these guys. Neopsite Breeder. Also, if left unchecked, these guys will spawn a bunch of jellyfish shockers, which will eventually eat up your ammo supply. A tip for taking these out is also for the scout, but they can be taken out with one frost grenade that's aimed well. Glyphic Acid Spitter. Each projectile does a ton of damage and their range is actually quite far, but they have really low health. Glyphic Web Spitter. If you're cutting a big swarm and you get hit by one of their webs, that could spell disaster. Shellbacks. Can do a surprising amount of damage and also knock you into really dangerous areas. The big ones will have lots of armor, so classes with good armor destruction mods can help take these out easier.
And lastly, we have goo bombers. If these aren't taken out quickly, they'll goo all over your face. And trust me, you don't want to get gooed all over your face. If left untouched, their goo will make big swarms much more hazardous due to their area effect slow.
Tips for scouts. Scouts are by far the best at taking out key targets such as Glyphic Wardens, Praetorians, Glyphic Oppressors, Neopsite Breeders, and Glyphic Menaces due to their high mobility. You can zip behind many of the bugs to get to their weak point areas much easier than any other class. I'll often exclusively use my cryo grenades for Wardens, Praetorians, and Neopsite Breeders. Taking these out during a big wave makes it much easier for your teammates to do what they do best, which is clear big waves with the smaller bugs. If you don't have hover clock or special powder overclocks, then taking hover boots as an active perk is an option that'll prevent you from taking lethal fall damage from when you're mining. Tips for engineers. Engineers have some of the best wave clear in the game due to their secondary weapons, the breach cutter or the grenade launcher. If a big wave of enemies is flat on the ground, a breach cutter can one-shot an entire wave, and the same goes with grenade launchers. The grenade launcher has the added benefit though of taking out swarms of enemies that are climbing down from walls. Take advantage of the engineer's tools by saving your secondary weapons for big swarms. For the grenade, I personally prefer the lower grenade for Haz 5 due to it allowing you to get out of sticky situations more often, but it's all preference. With the engineers like great wave clear potential, it's not uncommon for them to get the highest bug kill count in the majority of games. If you're new to Haz 5, I would recommend building your secondary weapons to focus on big swarms of enemies, unless you're doing a Dreadnought mission. Driller tips. Drillers have the unique ability to clear areas of obstacles to make it more suitable for your team to fight in. This is done quite often in Mule salvage operation missions, but don't forget you have this ability on all other mission types as well. You could even drill yourself out of bad positioning mid-combat if the situation calls for it. Your satchel charge can be your best friend, but at the same time be your teammate's worst enemy. If you're a driller main, you've no doubt killed many a teammate with this thing. The satchel charge can clear huge waves and be one of your saving graces when it comes to clearing a path through bugs. Just watch out for your teammates. And don't waste your satchels on compacted dirt, save them for the waves. Drillers also are the best at clearing swarms of the small glyphic swarmers due to their flamethrower or cryo guns. Gunner tips. To be honest, I don't play a gunner that much, so I felt like it'd be improper for me to provide tips on gunner, but there are tons of really good gunner video guides out there on YouTube, so be sure to check those out. That's it, guys. Hope these tips and general strategies help you get through the hardest difficulty with less anxiety, and I hope to see more of you dwarves out there doing some Has 5 missions. There's definitely some great videos out there with other Has 5 tips, but let me know what you think in the comments. Rockin' stone, brother.